Welcome to the Good Oil. This is the heart of racing. Neil Breen and Will Freedman. And the Good Oil this week. Look, is it our biggest episode of the year? It is, because it's the Everest episode of the Good Oil. The big races on at Randwick on Saturday. We're going to go through the entire field. Now, Will Freedman, how are you?
I'm good. This is a big week. Big week.
Look, we've said it before. I just can't believe how big this race has become in 7 years.
I reckon it's the biggest race in the country now. From an industry point of view, definitely in Australia. Personally, the Melbourne Cup needs huge remodelling.
It needs help, but it doesn't need Melbourne Cup parades cancelled.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I've seen conflicting reports that it was due to road closures.
Yeah, but they would have told us that a lot earlier than they did.
Well,
if it was because of that.
It was.
They're worried about all those, Victoria's just got in a pickle over horse welfare and protests and things like that. Anyway, we'll leave that aside. I want to talk about horse racing this week. Let's get into the pineapple, the Shocker of the Week award from a jockey with a bad ride. Will Freedman, what do you got for us?
Well, the problem is it's a little emotive, and I'm trying to...
Racing's emotive.
It is emotive.
You're allowed to let emotion get in the way of common sense.
Well, because it's my segment at the end where I call up a mate that's a trainer and get a tip, the Owen.
We call it the Owen because it's now 0-4 or 0-5. They haven't tipped a winner yet.
But Todd Pannell, he was Pannell's off. He gets a nomination for sheer heartbreak.
He was riding. What was the tip last week?
Lord Vladivostok.
Vladivostok.
I don't know. I've forgotten now. I tried to get out of my mind.
But he slaughtered it.
And Wine Baron. Yeah, they were both average rides.
Because we got two tips, right?
I know. Both favourites. Morfettville. What was it? 555 or something. The get out clause. I'm not saying there was anything like it. There've been worse rides, but gosh, it was just backing up one bad ride with another bad ride. It's like golf. You don't hit one bad shot. You hit another.
Who was the trainer last week who gave us the tips?
Michael Hickman.
He gave us the two. He was filthy, was he?
He was filthy. But we've got Cody Morgan later today. He wants redemption because he gave us a tip 2 weeks ago. Had 3 other winners on the day.
So Cody Morgan's coming back on.
Yep, I'm getting him back on.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, he was the special guest tipster. He gave us a tip. Yeah. It didn't win, and 3 others won.
3 other on the day. He could have...
That's a pineapple.
That's a training pineapple. It's a Kiwi.
That's a training pineapple. Who are you giving the sayonara to? Are you sacking a horse this week? What about me last week?
Oh, I know.
Oh, I have. I sacked Montefilia for the second time. Fair dinkum, when they went in the barriers, I was watching that race and I went, this thing's going to win this.
Yeah, but it didn't.
It did. It did. Oh, mate, anyway, I had a shocker last week, an absolute shocker. I'm going to get controversial. I'm going to sack Think About It.
Well, what?
Yep.
Think the second favourite.
Yeah, well, it's equal favourite now, $4.80 equal favourite with I Wish I Win. I've got to go out on a limb, and I just think it's won 8 in a row. It's got to be close to a loss. I'm going so bad with my sackings, I'm sacking it.
You could have picked an easier target.
No, you go the big target.
You've gone ambitious.
I'm going to tip it a special sayonara.
I've got a controversial one. You won't like this because it's Queensland-based.
Oh.
I'm sayonaraing Yellow Brick. I've had enough. Yeah. I can't keep backing this horse and everyone telling me how great it is. It just keeps getting beat. It doesn't want to win.
Well, you famously trained Fashion Legend at about 20-1 to beat it when it was favourite in the Magic Millions 3-year-old.
It always is favourite.
And then it raced first up in the Wheatwood. It was long odds on and just went too quick and was a sitting shot in the straight and got nutted on the line.
So I'm not taking the easy route, but it's had enough. It's had enough chances, and I can't see it changing its form down in Sydney now.
Okay, so you're sacking Yellow Brick that races at Randwick on Saturday. The So Simple, I've nominated this. Look, at the end of the day, King's Gambit in the Roman Consul last weekend. Osmosis second up was vulnerable, got rolled. We should have seen it coming.
Oh, 100%.
100% King's Gambit.
And it was a beautiful ride by
up the fence.
Tommy, kept up the fence, but they were winning on the fence. It's like, and they just the seas parted. Tommy must have just been like, oh, what's half my luck here? Just everyone's getting off, and I'm just going to stay here on a horse that wants the rail. So I thought it was well over the odds, but that was a terrific race.
It was. And King's Gambit, look, it just had to put it all together, and it was eventually going to do that, and we should have seen it coming on Saturday. It's the so simple. Okay, we normally do a big issues-based segment, but what we're going to do this week is, rather than that, we're going to devote a fair bit of time to the Tab Everest, which, as you said, has become the biggest race in the country. They're thinking 50,000 at Randwick. What's Empire of the Sun?
Yeah.
Working on a dream. They're going to play after the last.
I've seen them before.
They're good.
Very good.
They are very. The main guy wears all that outlandish stuff.
Yeah. It's a show. It's a proper show. But I'm going up to Newcastle. Well, I might come back for Empire of the Sun. I got to saddle a few up at Newcastle. I'm thinking of coming back just for the show afterwards. I tell you what, there is one beautiful thing about after the last at Randwick.
What, on Everest Day or in general?
Well, mainly on Everest Day. The drunkest human beings in Australia are in the parade ring, and they get it all out, and they're going wild. And if you hang around,
this is when the bands are playing.
Yeah. In the mounting yard, they get all the like barrier areas, so you stay out of certain areas. They take it all away, and you will not see more mullets in your life than in the mounting yard after the last.
Well, I have been to many Melbourne Cups. And what you do on Melbourne Cup Day at Flemington is you sit in the hill stand and you watch what happens on the lawn.
Oh, it's hilarious.
You reckon they're drunk at Randwick. My God, Melbourne Cup Day on that lawn in front of the finish post, it's like an all-in brawl. The jockeys come out on the veranda to watch it.
It's the Royal Rumble. It's like who's last man standing.
And there's coppers everywhere. There's people fighting everywhere. There's girls fighting. There's girls screaming. There's blokes fighting. There's blokes screaming.
You know, like if you wanted to pick up a nice pair of heels, just go and be a cleaner at the Flemington Carnival. Someone will leave them there, I'm sure.
Take it to a nice cobbler later and fix them all up and tidy them up. Fantastic. Hey, let's get into this Everest. Do you want to go through it runner by runner?
Yeah.
I reckon that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I Wish I Win. Peter Moody, Catherine Coleman, ridden by Luke Nolans, drawn barrier 1. Peter Moody said the last barrier he wants in the 12-horse field is barrier 1. He got barrier 1. It's better than barrier 12. The horse likes to get back. What do you think about I Wish I Win? $4 equal favourite.
I find
$4.80, equal favourite.
I'm not questioning Peter Moody, obviously, very good trainer, but running 1,400 first up,
then back
it's not conventional.
He did it famously once before. He did it with Black Caviar, which won the Futurity over 1,400 metres. Then next week came out and won the Lightning over 1,000 metres and broke the track record.
You could have run Black Caviar in a 2,000 metre Turnbull first up. It would have won and then come back and win their Everest. But look, very hard to knock his Randwick form, winning the TJ, and is a nice horse, and look, best of luck to them. I think it's a bit of a false favourite. I don't think it'll start favourite. I think there'll be others that come in, but
okay, you're a little bit of a knock on I Wish I Win. He is my tip in the race simply because I think he's in the finish. I just think he is there somewhere. Private Eye. Joe Pride has 2 in the race. It's a great training performance. This is like a $62,000 yearling Private Eye. It's won a fortune. Nash Rawilla, barrier 9, $6.50 in the market. Had a great win first up.
Jamie Walter for both of them for Proven Thoroughbreds.
The syndicator.
Impeccable judge, clearly. Look, I think Private Eye's the smoky. I mean, he's not really smoky. He's $6.50. It's not like he's coming from well down in the market, but can't knock winning form, should improve out of it. I've always thought he's not really a 1,200 metre horse. I've thought he's always wanted further, but obviously you don't knock running for $20 million. But look, I think every chance. Barrier 9's a bit sticky, but he'll want to get in the 3-wide cover line. If he can find that, then I think he's also in the finish.
What about Think About It? Horse number 3, $4.80 equal favourite at this stage. Barrier 5, Sam Clipperton, another Joe Pride, another Proven Thoroughbreds. I think he cost about $40,000. So you think Gelding, who is a supreme sprinter. But look at its form. It's just picket fences. His form reads 1, 1, 1, 1, spell, 1, 1, 1, spell, 1. And there's 2 Group 1s in there.
Yeah. He's the
He's a winner.
I actually think he's the class runner of the field.
Because I would think I wish I wins the class runner, but you think it's think about it.
I think this horse is very special. For over 1,400 and a mile. I think this is right at the shortest end.
At the bottom end, the 1,200.
But he's going to want there to be plenty of pace on and to be sort of coming late. He can't do what he. I don't think he can sit that close to the speed in this race. I think he's going to have to sit midfield, try and hope there's a bit more pace than it looks on paper. Because on paper, it really only looks like Overpass and maybe Marzu are going to be going forward. I think it's actually going to make it hard. I'm not so against your sayonara of it. I think it's a pretty hard race. You could make a case that it's hard for things
to keep a big winning streak going. Look, he's won 8 in a row, but wow, that's a big task. A horse, look, the outsider of the field is 50-1. Peter and Paul Snowden, ridden by Tommy Berry, is Marzu. It just, I don't know. You couldn't back it, Marzu, for Triple Crown.
You can't back it, but it's going to be on pace. And if they do stack it up, he'll still be there quite a long way out. Like if I'm a slot holder, I'm thinking Marzu's not that bad because he's going to be able to finish in the first half of the field. So they might get a return, but hard to see him winning and turning around the form that he's had. He hasn't won in a long time. So,
yeah, so 50-1, and he deserves to be that price. Bjorn Baker, Josh Parr rides Overpass. Ran really well first up, ran second. It's $11. Overpass is the natural leader. It's drawn barrier 2. It's just going to jump and sit, and it will be the leader. If he gets a soft lead, and by soft lead, we mean that he's not going full pelt. He's just cruising along in front, conserving energy, gets to the straight, puts a length on him. He'll be hard to run down.
The only query is, I think we'll get to it a bit later, but alcohol-free being a Gain Adrian runner, now that it's a bit fitter, do they put it on speed? Will it inject a little bit of pace? But yeah, if there's no pace, Overpass is the clear runner that's going to be there a long time. He'll look the winner at some point, Overpass. Whether something comes late with a bit more class than him, I think that's sort of his question mark, and he's going to have to use himself a little bit from barrier 2 because barrier 2 could be because it could be sticky if you don't jump away fast and get there fast and something else crosses
on the outside. Yeah,
you can't get to the lead. Sometimes, like I reckon, if Björn could pick his barrier, he would pick somewhere between 5 to 7. So you got a little bit of leeway to get across. But, I'd prefer to draw 2 than 12.
Let's get to Buenos Noches. He's like the new boom horse on the scene. He's $12. Matt Smith, the trainer. Dylan Gibbons, barrier 8. His form reads 1. It was a slashing win first up. Then that 3 beside his name, the third last, he just had no luck. And Dylan Gibbons got off. I was there when he got off, and he said to the connections, you didn't win today. But don't worry, this horse is primed and ready. I think he's a real knockout chance.
I'm a big fan of Zach and Dylan, but I'm surprised these two apprentices have been given a start in a $20 million race.
Because they are apprentices, because Zach Lloyd's got a ride on cylinder as well.
I'm surprised, but I do think Buenos Noches has a different progression, and it looks like he's building towards this. Like it really feels like a grand final. Some of the other form races, I'm struggling to see the logic behind it, but obviously they know their horses intimately well. I think maybe next year for Buenos Noches.
Let's go to Hawaii 5-0. Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bott, ridden by James McDonald, J-Mac. Barrier 10. This is an intriguing one at $14. Hawaii 5-0. We know he likes to get home from barrier 10. He might have to go forward, Will.
I don't think he's going forward.
You think he'll just drop back?
I think he'll go back.
And just hope for helter-skelter up front.
That's the only way he wins. He doesn't win going forward. I don't think. Look, I could be wrong, but I don't think he's the injection of pace. If I'm Gay and Adrian, I'm thinking alcohol-free is my injection of pace. I'm thinking he'll run back. I think he'll run really well. I think barrier 10 suits him more than barrier 3 because he can run his own race. He's a big horse. He's a 600 plus kilo.
Huge.
He is a mountain of a horse.
People won't miss him when they see him. He's massive.
He will run on. It's just whether the horses in front have too much of a head start if the pace isn't genuine.
And if he wins, Jerry Harvey, I see Ray Hadley's bloom with him because he's got a bit of a lease and his name wasn't in the race book and everything. But Singo's in the ownership. Will he shout the 50,000? He hasn't said that.
He wouldn't. Oh, he might shout at some of his venues and then close it, an hour afterwards and just get it all back.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Hawaii 5-0 wins, it won't be alcohol-free for Singo. That's the next horse in the race, alcohol-free. Also trained by Waterhouse and Bott. Craig Williams, last year's winner. He takes the ride from Barrier 7, $41 alcohol-free. This is this $10 million mare that Yulong bought. Has only had 2 starts in Australia. Hasn't shown much here.
I thought its last start was encouraging, though. I thought the last start was
better.
It was better. And, keep in mind, it came over here and ran at 1,600 first up.
Yeah.
And then,
too much.
Which was didn't make a whole heap of sense. And then
back for a spell.
Now we're back for a spell. We've run okay first up at 1,200 in the shorts, was it? I think it was the shorts. But now peaking, I actually think this horse will run a bit of a race at 41-1. I don't think it's running last in this.
Okay, Zach Purton returns from Hong Kong for James Cummings to ride in secret, $11. It's got barrier 12. Now, I know, talking to you off air, Will, you like this horse?
Yeah, I think barrier 12 suits.
Yeah,
Why? With this type of race. So there's no pace, and it's going to be muddling tempo, and she's not a sit and sprint type of horse. She needs to get rolling.
You think she rolls from barrier 12?
I think she tries to find a 3-wide cover line, so get in that three wide line and then peel out and give her plenty of momentum coming into the straight. And if the pace starts going on at the 600, and it will be devoid of pace till the 600. But if they start really ramping up the pressure at the 600 or even before that, horse like her that's been very good up the straight, it's their type of race. They can sustain a long sprint. So Zach Purton, arguably the best jockey in the world, and in secret, I feel like the forgotten horse. It was a slaughter last start. I thought
when it ran fourth. Yeah.
If it had run second or one, she'd be equal favourite in this.
Okay, up with the $4.80 pops. Espiona, Chris Waller, Hugh Bowman for Star Thoroughbreds. Look, 2 years ago, when she blitzed them in 2 races in the Melbourne Carnival, they thought this was going to be the best horse in the country.
Baby Winks.
They did. They thought she was Baby Winks. She didn't live up to the promise, but then she did peel off a couple of wins and finally put the writing on the wall that she was a decent horse. I think she's outclassed here, Will.
Yeah, and she does too much wrong. You just can't do anything wrong at this
She
level.
hangs to the left in the straight. Yeah. She wants to go left.
And no one really knows why. It's not lameness, because she's not lame, because she's winning doing it. So it's... I think it's... Look, she's lucky she's drawn barrier 3. She might be able to position in a nice spot and hold on for a nice finish, but... There's just too much class in this race for a horse like Espiona. I think $15 is unders.
Okay, we've got the Golden Slipper winner, Shinzo, for Chris Waller, Karen McAvoy, barrier 6, $16. Ran 9th first up. Reports that that was first up in the Golden Rose. It was just too much for it first up. Reports that it had a strained hamstring or something. I don't like injured horses, Will, and I just prefer to watch them.
Yeah, I think it's... I'm sure he had an issue, and I'm sure Chris wouldn't be... They
wouldn't run him if he didn't have an issue.
His value
and the vets are crawling over all these horses, and he's a $40 million horse.
Yeah, he doesn't need to run in this. So that Chris, obviously, and Coolmore, obviously, think he's going well enough to support running in their slot, but I fear the Golden Slipper curse on this one's returned. I mean, Fireburn was a bit of an anomaly because it won over distance. They haven't really come back. It was an arduous 2-year-old campaign, and often they don't
come back, the Slipper winner. Well, one horse that did come back from the Slipper was horse 12 Cylinder. It ran second in the Slipper to Shinzo, and it won first up by a lip in Melbourne. It won second up in another tight finish after it got held up, and it was a good run, really good run. Was only beaten half a head or something to run third in the Golden Rose. James Cummings, Zach Lloyd, $8.50.
Yep, is going well. Not up to this bunch yet. Maybe next year when it gets a bit stronger. I know it's carrying 53 kilos, but I think it's only giving 3.5 kilos to a horse like In Secret. I just can't see it. I can't see that a big enough weight disparity to say that it's going to run well.
Okay, the final word on the Everest. What's your tip?
I'm going for In Secret, and I think Hawaii 5-0. I think those two will come together, and I think they could fight it out.
Okay, so there'll be some leaders there, and those two will come together in the straight. They get over the rise, and down they come towards that massive crowd. I'm going with I Wish I Win. I just really like him. I know it's odd, the 1,400 first up and back to the 1,200. Peter Moody's done it before. I really like him as a horse. Luke Nolan, barrier 1. I'm going to stick with him. I Wish I Win.
Okay. I think he's going to get in a weird position. I think it's going to be a little bit like Santa Ana Lane a few years back.
Yeah.
Where it
flying at the end and not getting there.
It's going to need a lot of breaks from where it's going to get to.
Well, there's good racing in Melbourne, of course, on Saturday. Normally, we would never mention the Sydney races on Caulfield Guineas Day, where you've got the Caulfield Guineas, you've got the Toorak Handicap, you've got a Might and Power Stakes over 2,000 metres. There's some really good horses racing in Melbourne, but we'll just focus on the Guineas today. And this is a Sydney versus Melbourne classic showdown between two horses. Militarised, the 3-time Group 1 winner from Sydney, versus Stepati, the up-and-comer from Melbourne. Where are you? You declared Stepati a couple of weeks ago on the show, and it won first up in an incredible win.
But I also declared Militarised.
Militarised, yeah.
But I'm questioning the Golden Rose form. It was too congested of a finish. I don't think it's as dominant as it has been in previous years. Yep. I could be wrong, but that's my gut feeling. I thought Stepati did it tough, and I think if he doesn't have to do it so tough this time, he could be. He's the progressive horse. I think Militarised is running as well as he can, and he's a very good horse. But I think Stepati's got levels to go to. So I'm going to take Stepati and the fact that it's at Caulfield, he's a Melbourne horse, he's used to the Melbourne way. Militarised has to show that he can go the Melbourne way. So we'll see.
Okay, well, there's a couple of other decent races we'll keep an eye out on in Melbourne. Alligator Blood will start as the favourite in the 2,000-metre weight for age race. And we have Amelia's Jewel in the Toorak Handicap. After that, does this star from Western Australia, if it wins, even if it doesn't win, but what does it do after that? Does it come and race against the 4-year-olds on the Golden Eagle, or does it progress to the Cox Plate?
Well, I think it's the Golden Eagle now because there was an announcement this week that they were allowed to choose a WA charity for the Golden Eagle because a percentage of the winnings goes to a charity.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've been able to get a WA and break the mould, it's usually New South Wales based or at least involving New South Wales. Charity. I think that might have been a lure. You wouldn't break the rules unless you weren't coming.
No, they wanted to go there. Well, it's time to unload where we got to give our special, and I'm going to unload on her. I think she wins the Toorak Handicap.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Look, Antino, the Queensland horse, is a good horse. I think it runs a pole, but I'm Amelia's Jewel. What are you unloading on?
Well, I'm going. It's a bit silly, really, because I've put him in the side. I've sayonara'd him before, and now I'm bringing him back into my unload.
Yeah.
So
a horse you've sacked is now your unload.
No,
what is it?
I'm coming back with Alligator Blood. I was impressed.
Yeah.
You got to accept when you're wrong sometimes. And
he was good last start.
And I don't think it's a vintage Martin Power.
It's not.
So I think
stack him up and go.
Yeah. I think he's going to be very hard to run down.
Okay. Alligator Blood, which is in the Might and Power. Are we going to do this, Owen? We're going to ring you, mate. Who are we ringing again? I've forgotten from 10 minutes ago.
We're ringing back Cody Morgan. He gave us a dud tip. He tipped us one. He had 3 other winners on the day. It's not acceptable. Okay. So we're getting him back. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Will. Good, thanks.
You should be embarrassed. I know. You gave us the segment is now called the Owen because all my mate trainers can't tell me one horse over the weekend that they think is a good thing. So it's becoming embarrassing. You're part of the problem, but it's time for you to fix the problem. So I want you to give us something that is going to win on the weekend.
Can it be Monday?
Yep, Monday's good. Monday's good.
We might need money on Monday.
We're tragics here. Come on.
For sure. Last Frontier on Monday at Scone.
Okay.
Last Frontier.
How many other runners do you have on the day, Cody? That's kind of important.
Probably got half a dozen tomorrow, and then one Saturday in the Kosciuszko, and then one Monday. So we'll be probably all our eggs in one basket on Monday, I'd say.
All right. Well,
Rightio. What do you have in the Kosciuszko, mate? I've
Broken Hill.
Broken Hill. Is it a chance?
I think he's definitely a place chance for sure.
Hot race.
I'm under that much pressure with Will here. I just, not going on maybes. I'm going on sure things. So,
as I said, you can't give a tip and then have 3 other winners on the same day. Like it's
the next day, Will.
It's like it's a punch in the gut, mate.
Well, I could tip you Bajara tomorrow that you used to train.
Don't do that. No, let's move on from that. That's
Cody, you missed the best answer back you could have given, Will. You should have just said, at least I had 3 winners on a day, Will.
Oh, yeah, okay. This was not supposed to be a bake of me, by the way.
Monday, Will.
All right.
Yeah, we'll be right.
Good on you, Cody. Last Frontier Monday at Scone, so people who lose their cash on Everest Day and Caulfield Guineas Day can get it back on Monday. Best of luck in the Kosciuszko.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
And you train well this weekend,
I'm
Will.
going to try. Actually, I think I've got one that'll win.
Oh, what do you got?
I think I've got. Can I be a part of the Owen this week?
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah, I reckon just in time in Newcastle. I don't know what race it is. It's a 1,200 metre fillies and mares maiden.
Okay, just in time at Newcastle.
Nice horse.
Rightio. And you're going up there for that race and missing the Everest.
And then I'm coming back for Empire of the Sun. So if Just in Time wins, come and find me and I will have my mullet out in force.
He's working on a dream. Good on you, Will Freedman. Happy punting.